The Amazon, often referred to as the lungs of the earth, has long inspired artists from every corner of the globe. Its mystique and delicate balance with nature have sparked creativity for centuries. I speak to a musician from Brazil in the heart of the Amazon. He's won international awards and recognition from the likes of the United Nations and Latin American governments. Meet Diego Carneiro. Diego Carneiro is a highly regarded musician whose classical training has been influenced by the rich and diverse sounds of Latin America.
Peace is the moment that there is intonation, you see, when you find harmony. Music should be a peaceful process so you can connect to people. But also the message for me is very important. When you play music, it should have a cause. And this cause for me is to create peace and connection among countries.
Diego, I have to say it was a treat watching you play. And I think music just touches our soul and just impacts us, when we listen to it as a listener. But when I was watching you play, it's almost like the music takes over your life. I mean, you watch your hands and the instrument, but you also watch your face. Tell us where you go when you play. What's it like for you?
I try to become like a channel. Yeah, of course from the composer, but also when you play to public inspires me to play better, and somehow there is a connection that I translate into sounds. So I get very, perhaps absorb the emotions and I translate it into, I put my emotions on that and it becomes automatic in a way, the process. After practicing a lot, it becomes automatic and it becomes also, it's like opening one door that you make yourself kind of sleep. You go to bed and then the music comes out from you. You understand? It's an unconscious process, and I like very much because it becomes the most important moment of your life when you play music.
You're almost an extension of your music, though. I mean, as mournful as it is there, that's also translated in your face. I mean, you become a part of the music.
Yes, I think when music is one with the musician, then you become an artist. You see, because I always say there are lots of you have instrumentalists, like I have a cellist, I have a musician, and I want to be an artist, which means to transcend emotions through sounds, and there shouldn't be any barrier that would avoid you from that. It's just like we say in Spanish, like entrega. We just give yourself away to music.
We've talked a lot about music, but I want to talk about peace because it's another area of interest for you. What does peace mean to you?
Well, peace is the moment that there is intonation. You see, when you find harmony, when you understand and you feel ensemble together with people. And music helps that kind of connection because it's a bridge. So when I make, when I play to people and I make music, I try to feel peaceful before doing that. During, also when you play, even though the music could be like perhaps strong in different rhythms, but music should be a peaceful process so you can connect to people. But also the message for me is very important. When you play music, it should have a cause. And this cause for me is to create peace and connection among countries.
Diego was born in Belém, a city in the Amazonian region of Brazil. He studied music in the US, England, and Switzerland. His unique musical perspective blends classical notes with the rich heritage of Amazonian folklore. There is a part of the world that you love. I know this. It's a place where you grew up, the Amazon. Most of us from the outside world just see it as this exotic, amazing place. But for you, in so many ways, it's your roots, it's your home. Talk to us about what that was like growing up there.
Well, the Amazon region is a very musical place, right? You listen to the birds and all the animals that sing or make their own voices. And I used to have birds at home, you see. So I do say that music came into my life when I was 11, perhaps. And we did have in my region a period of the rubber period, where we had the creation of orchestras, or perhaps the opera theater, right? So that became the huge, like I would say, in our history, it's the beginning of our music, Western music education. And the name of the theater is called Teatro da Paz, which in English means like the Peace Theater. So that's where I gave the first concert of my life. I was 12 years old and I was playing the cello on that theater. And the name of the theater had already the peace in it, the peace elements, because that's the name of the theater. It's a beautiful opera theater, and with that give the messages of talks about peace. That's for me was the beginning in the Amazon. You see, I never seen really wars like close to me. I do see that my cause nowadays has to do with it. So being brought up in the Amazon, playing this peace theater, it prepared me for that. Now what I'm going through now with this cause, with refugee musicians.
We'll talk about that in just a minute, but I want to touch on this because you've compared your parents' love to your love of music. Can you make that connection for us? How so?
My parents, my father comes from South Brazil, Gaucho, which means 5 days traveling, you see, from my mother's house. My mother is from the Amazon region, from the state of Pará. Pará means river and sea together in Tupi-Guarani language, where they meet. So you have the sweet water and the sea, yeah, the river and the sea. So that I saw as a very, like two words meeting together, unity. So my parents, they always created they gave me the possibility to practice unity. They would take me, before being a musician, to help, to go to shelters, to go to home cares. They would take me around, even to prisons, taking food. And when I started to play the cello, I thought, I don't take food, but I take all the type of foods, which is music, the sound, right? And I could inspire people to be perhaps a better person or feel better. And that would make me feel very good also. The word Amazon, for me, was the word that inspired me to create the foundation Amazon Art. And this foundation, Amazon Art, has the word ama, which means the verb to love, som, which means sound, and art. So my parents, they educate me with that kind of, I should care for people. And the way I did it nowadays, since that time, the way I do is for music.
And they brought food, nourishment for the stomach. You bring music, nourishment for the soul.
Yes.
And what does it mean to you to watch the audiences responding to your music?
When I was 12 years old, I remember people from that time, when I played this one, they used to cry. It's probably because I was a young boy who had already the feeling to like I showed them that I cared for them. And the music, when I play music, I really try to go towards people's heart. So when I play to them, I became friends, like family. I always say that music is the best way to make families like this. I left my family very young, but I played to many other people that nowadays they're part of my family, universal family. I don't see another profession when you do it, when you love it. It's actually, when you love something, you see people, when they play, they love music. So I think the reason I play music is because, I love people. And therefore I love music. I play music because first I'm man. We are humans first, and then musicians. And I think many people are musicians first. Some people are musicians, then they love human. But I tried. My parents taught me to be first human and musicians.
His dedication to uniting classical and folk traditions has not only resulted in groundbreaking musical compositions, but also in profound cultural exchanges. Diego, let me ask you about how all of this came about, the youth orchestra. I mean, what was the event that precipitated it? And then also kind of long-term. Think about goals, dreams, because I can tell you're a dreamer. Talk to us about where it started and where you see it going.
I was in Ecuador playing a concert, and there was a huge and tragic earthquake in 2016. And from that moment, I thought, how can we help these people in the coast to rebuild their homes? So let's do a concert. And then I created an orchestra with young people, and we played for people who could help them. And since then the orchestra has been traveling to Brazil, to Colombia. We won some prizes in Belgium. We won some prizes with the Embassy of Germany, playing Beethoven. And okay, we played in the United Nations in Geneva, Germany. Like, we had to learn how to organize. And in 2018, lots of Venezuelans started to arrive and called us. Look, the first thing, we arrived, they told me, we arrive in Ecuador, we don't have homes or food, but we need music. My children need to learn music. Please help. And then I integrate them. 2019. And from 2016 up to today, more than 500, 600 people have been there.
Wow.
And in different places in Ecuador. 300 concerts last year. So, including virtual concerts.
Wow.
And so it became very busy. We don't have really sponsorship from the States. So we do ourselves. We talk to people here in the US support us. So, but I see it's possible. So this dream started in 2016. So I want this orchestra to become very sustainable, so they can be helping their families, and to have stability with music. There is a story behind each instrument and each child who receives the instrument.
I found this quote here about going to the border of Ecuador and Colombia. And you say, not long ago I crossed the border and I've seen the hard scenes, the difficult scenes. Describe them for us, and how did they impact who you are today?
Many years ago, I went to Africa. I saw misery. I saw many other things. Okay. But working on the borders of the Colombia and Ecuador, for example, it was shocking, really shocking. I went there by myself one day, 2018, on September, and I went to cross the border to play in Colombia, very close to the border. And I saw thousands of people there and waiting and hungry, and some of the people dying. It was horrible. And then I thought, this is actually the biggest cause of my life. Because when you talk about refugees, you're talking about not only music, you're talking about violence, you're talking about political issues, you're talking about drug addiction, everything connected at the same time. So I thought, okay, what can I do? Well, first thing I can do, if I did this in Belém, in the Amazon region, taking music to people to console them, to make a bit more, hope, maybe we can do that. And I brought more than 70 musicians to play a concert 2 months later or 3 months later. We played for them 3 days of performance. And if you ask me the best time, the best moment of your life when you played music, that was this moment. If you ask any musician that day, any people there, you'd have the same impact, the same answer. They would say, this was our best moment in our lives. People crying, singing, dancing. It was amazing. And from that moment, I saw I need to keep doing that. I didn't know it was very difficult to do that cause, and that moment, my life changed again.
Diego's humanitarian spirit resulted in the creation of Amazon Art, an organization dedicated to promoting various projects through the Youth Orchestra of Ecuador. These initiatives include programs such as Music as a Refugee, which supports migrants by bringing everyone together to collaborate. We've seen this migration. We've seen so many people forced from their homes and poverty, trying to find some avenue to start their lives over. Describe for us your thoughts on migration, that movement, and how that folds into your work.
I play music because not only music, musicians and cultures migrated. Immigration, I think, it's gonna be forever. It's been always there, right? Our music is combination of cultures, right? So it's very important to have this understanding, this connection, and to be harmonious to people who migrate. The situation is that I've been to Honduras, Guatemala recently, Mexico also, and the situation is how you do it, and how come, and the reasons. So with Venezuela, the reason there is really inhumane, I think, or insane. It's tragedy. I cried every day of my life. I have to get far to not be so much sad, you see. When I think about the stories I see, when I meet people, it's impossible not to cry. In fact, that could be also not very healthy, isn't it? But I've seen the truth of immigration and how they do it, like perhaps that people wouldn't have the chance to see because they live far away or they support, but from distance. I go to where they are to the cause.
This might be my final question, and maybe the one you wrestle with the most. Are you a man of music? Are you a man of peace? Are you a man of both? How do you define yourself?
I'm a man that loves music and people, and I choose peace I choose peace to connect people. I choose to inspire peace to people, but playing the cello. I wish, for example, if you ask me if I want to play orchestras, I wouldn't like to play inside of the orchestra. Perhaps that's very personal nowadays, because I've got a very important mission that I sacrifice my career in a way to do it. But I do this with the hope that people will join and support. And I think we're going to go to a process now that we will choose music to create some better moods on our society. So in any case, I think music can become like it's very important also in medicine, and that will become you make human more healthier, and therefore peace is everywhere now when you talk about music in my life. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.